Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan and Adam Curry talking about a whole bunch of things in this clip. But one thing that they end up touching on that I found really funny was this city council meeting that was had where a bunch of, let's be nice and say, interesting characters from the alphabet community decide to show up in all of their glory and all of their glitter and all of their wigs. So they play that clip there, and they touch on a whole bunch of other things because Adam Curry is premium podcast guest. Some people call him the Podfather. If you do not know about Adam Curry, you are about to learn a thing or two. Let's get into it.
Comes out, and she does this whole list of USAID, which is very little money. And I think our president is very smart. He's showing us things that enables people like Mike Benz and you and I to have these conversations about, because it's not ideological that USAID, which is not USAID, this is like one of these psyops right up top, like right. Federal Express is not owned by the government, Federal Reserve is not owned by the government, USAID is the Agency for International Development, not aid. And we see on television, there goes another pallet onto the C-130. Aid, U.S. aid from the American people.
Oh, we're being nice.
Yeah, we're being nice to people.
We should be nice. We're the nice people of the world.
But what these, and I'm sure Mike talked about this, like LGBTQ, these dance parties and things. If you look at these countries, like these are countries where we want to keep them away from Russia, overthrow the incumbents.
Yes.
And the way to garner support is to. And I really love how they added the Q. That just became so clear to me all of a sudden. If you sponsor LGBTQ, these are outcasts. These are people who feel that they've been marginalized. Then you add a Q, like, oh, wait a minute, I can be queer. I'm different. I'm odd. You bring more people in. Then you can bring the anarchists in.
You can get A. They have the A's in
Oh, yeah,
now,
the
which
A's,
is
the I's,
so crazy.
Everything.
But the A's don't even have a dog in the fight.
But that's the point. You want them to come to the party.
Yes.
Come to the party. You're allowed to the party.
That's
and
why
then
it's so long now.
And I saw this, AFD in Germany, this is the extreme right party, and they wanted, to slow or remove immigration. And so now there was a protest against the AFD. They're getting ready to vote now, and there's 100,000 people there. And I'm like, wow. I thought, because I know people in Germany, I have friends in Germany. They really are sick and tired of this immigration stuff. So where are these people coming from? And in the news report, right up front, there's a dude in a blonde wig with eyeshadow saying, we just want to get along. Can't we just be diverse? I'm like, that's the psyop.
Yes.
He's talking about himself. So he wants to feel included, which, by the way, in America, you can do whatever you want, call yourself whatever you want. People really don't have an issue with that. But they've just taken this and abused these people into their political agendas all over the world. And, of course, it sparked something here in the States. If you look at the Democrat Party, they're going to die on this hill. They're still like, oh, no, LGBTQ, they're taking away our rights, because they know they can mobilize people to do that. And then you can throw in Palestine and all kinds of people.
Did you see the city
group.
council thing in Worcester, Massachusetts yesterday that's gone viral today?
No, which one is
Jamie,
that?
did you see it?
I'm seeing it right now on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, pull this up. I
haven't seen
there's a compilation of these people like absolutely freaking out. The best one's the compilation, if you can find the compilation. But it's all these LBGT people show up at this city council meeting to say there's like a trans genocide. It's one of those, dude. We're going to round up in concentration camps.
Yeah, 5 minutes long.
Yeah, just give me, start from the beginning. Give me.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
Oh, brother.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Up, please?
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
There it is.
Yeah.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
He's both.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's
Whoa.
my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
What?
I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the No, that's
Well,
enough.
so-
It's like, you made me put glitter on my face, you piece of shit. Because everyone knows when you go to court, you have to have glitter.
These
on your
people,
face.
these people need hugs. They need
They need
love.
love.
I
They
pray
need
for
love.
them.
Yeah.
The biggest way to psychologically manipulate people is, or there's three ways: old people, puppies, and children. And the whole, and I follow this. It started around 2012, not coincidental. When you know about Smith-Mundt, the Smith-Mundt Act. So that's there was a law that was put in since the Church Commission. You can't propagandize the American people. Defense Department and others went to the government and said, well, like we're on the internet now. We might accidentally, push some propaganda on people. It started with bullying in schools. I know because John Dvorak and we followed it on No Agenda. Started with bullying, then it was we needed anti-bullying laws, and we're literally going like, what happened to sticks and stones will break my bones, or punch the bully in his nose? No. Then the teachers, and then we got hate speech laws, not actually laws, but hate speech punishments, and this kept building up until you guaranteed parents through the American Medical Association, the Pediatric Society, all of these different trade groups, that if you don't transition your child, that child will commit suicide.
Right.
And that is a horrible thing that they've done. Think about these parents who may or may not one day wake up and go, what have I done? What have I done?
Well, someone was talking about this the other day, that this is the real problem, is that so many parents have committed to their children, and they cannot face the reality of what they've done, and so they're going to dig their heels in forever, and
And
they're
vote
gonna
Democrat.
talk about gender affirming care. And,
Yes.
yeah. But the thing is, that's a small percentage of people in the general population.
Thank God.
And thank God. But they're overrepresented in the fact that they make it their whole life, and so they're very loud and very vocal, and then they become a political beach ball. I talk about beach
I
balls
heard you
at the
talk about
concert.
that with Bridget.
That's what
Yeah,
it is. It's
totally.
the political beach balls at a concert. They chuck them up in the air, so we always have something to fight about. So we're not paying attention to like the USAID stuff or a lot of the stuff that's like really important. And this is just a part of this tangled web of psyops that's been running our culture. I mean, I would say our government, but it's everything, right?
Culture,
So
yes.
it's the government has established its hooks in us and put fear and law and rules, and the more law and the more rules, the better, because the more likely you're going to break a few of them, and then you're going to shut the f up.
Yeah.
And they've got these things everywhere, and it's just allowing them to run this mafia business. And there's a bunch of people that are reasonable, educated people that have Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to admit that even their people, their cherished heroes like Obama, was a part of this.
Big
and that
part.
all these people that you think of as progressive Democrats, they were all a part of it. And fortunately today, we have the convenient access to YouTube instantaneously, where you could watch Obama in 2003 say some very MAGA things, or you could watch Hillary Clinton go more MAGA than MAGA
About deportations.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, and that if you stay, you have to pay a stiff fine. I mean, the whole thing it's cyclical, right? Like, this is why the left is now supporting war and censorship. It's not real. It's not that there's a good group of kind, compassionate, educated people and a bunch of buffoons who are racist who want to bring that back to the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
That's not what's going on.
No.
There's
Not at all. It's very, very interesting, just touching on, something that he said during the clip, and that thing right there where he says, it's not a bunch of kind people than a bunch of racist people. It's easy to get pulled into that. I was lucky enough that when I was young, I was so concerned with making money and trying to, just survive being poor, that I didn't have time to get sucked into it. I just didn't have the time, I was just into work and doing other things. So I never really had that time. And then when you're working, for most of us, when you're working these regular jobs, these factory jobs, these grocery store jobs, when you're working these essential type of jobs, everybody gets along pretty much. There's no people really being racist all that much. It happens maybe here or there, and maybe you just joke around. You have that type of atmosphere, but it's never to the degree that they try to make it seem like on the internet or just in politics in general. But the thing that he brought up about USAID, and I like that he made that distinction, because people really do think, you hear it all the time. If you listen to news, they say USAID because it's easier to say, but also it's a little trick that goes on in your head. It's USAID. Yeah, USAID. It's not USAID. It's USAID. It's just harder to say that. It's not fun. But the thing that they said, Joe's like, yeah, because we're the nice people of the world. And it's funny that you have this dynamic where you are kind of tricked into thinking, some people are, that there's these really nice, kind-hearted people on the left, and then there's a bunch of racist people on the right. But then also, at the same time, you have this idea that we do what we do around the world because America, North America in the whole, because this happens in Canada just as much, they're the nice people of the world, but also the most racist, and they're all colonizers on stolen land. It's like all of it all at once. The nicest people in the world, the most giving economy, the American economy, is also the most racist, and also a bunch of colonizers. It's like everything all at once. It's the place, you know, what did Trump say in his inaugural speech? The impossible is what we do best. It's ridiculous. It's an interesting little mind warp they try to throw you in. You know? Nicest people in the world, most giving nation, but then also you're a colonizer, you're racist, and you over there, you're oppressed, and you come from slaves. Make sure not to forget that. You also make sure that you're guilty for the role that you played in them being oppressed. Although you didn't do it, we still need you to feel that shame and guilt. So please keep that, and you keep the oppression as well. You guys are pretty much equal, but we can't have you guys thinking that, because if you're equal, you guys might end up connecting. If you end up connecting, you might end up turning your gaze at us. Okay? And we can't have that. We need you to fight. So please, just keep that going. And if you notice, it's funny because it's always the richest people. I just noticed this just as I'm going. It's always the richest people that are black and white that are making the working class, lower class people believe that whole narrative. It's always the millionaires that are telling you that you're oppressed, or it's always the millionaires that are talking about white guilt. It's weird, you know? And I throw millionaires, I say the politicians as well, as we learn everything that's going on with USAID and the politicians and their net worths and everything like that. It's always this managerial millionaire class that's making you feel like you're either oppressed or that you should be ashamed. Funny how that works. It's a mind warp, I'm telling you. Also, just going back to those people, I'm going to pull them up myself, actually, because I don't want to have to rewind the clip of Joe. But I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was this person here or what. But they were saying they're going to make, this is a safe space, but they're going to make sure that it's an unsafe space. Isn't that a threat? Let me see if I can find that quick.
Protect me because the federal government
Of course I have it on double speed. Okay, that's how I work. Okay, guys?
won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
Why is that? Why are you allowed? It's always interesting when these people feel like they can just threaten, That's a threat, isn't it? They're saying they're going to make the space unsafe. What are they going to do? Imagine there was just some regular guy who is just, hoodie, camel hat. He's just like, hey, man, if you guys think, we're going to make this space really unsafe, people would be like, oh, you're going to jail. You're going to jail for years. That's right away. You say that in a government building, oh, you're going to jail. Going to jail at least for 2 years. Yeah, you're going to sit. You're going to sit. But that lady who clearly has clownitis, because she said she had 2 disabilities or something like that, this person with clownitis is just allowed to throw these threats around all willy-nilly. Find that very, very interesting. Touching on this whole thing, this actually happened, just to give you a little backstory. There is a mayor or a council member, I believe, that is non-binary, who said that they felt unsafe amongst the other council members and the public. So they went on leave. And when they went on leave, all of these people came and assembled and made this whole stunt. And Yeah, it went exactly the way you would see it. Also, I just want to touch on, it's so funny, I have clownitis written down. I'm like, let's not forget clownitis. I got to remember that one. But it's funny what he said about the Q, Adam Curry, because it's not the Q that gives way to the anarchist and the socialist and the hedonism. It's not the Q. It's the plus. The plus is what gives way to that whole thing. The plus is for everybody. Anybody who is willing to come. I've talked about this at length on this podcast, but you know, it's a page from Rules for Radicals from Saul Alinsky's work. You try to amass all of the minorities that you possibly can, all the small fringe groups and people until you become a majority and you actually have strength and power, and you get to continue calling yourselves a minority because you're made up of all these different groups. That's why they don't just call themselves the group. That's why they don't operate as just one. They make sure it's segmented into these letters and everything, because if they're just one, then they're one group, and then eventually they'll become the majority, and then all of a sudden they become the thing that they're railing against. But if they stay like this, they remain minorities. So, and then they can always play the victim card and always claim that it's other people who have the power and blah, blah, blah. Keeps the grift going, you know? And then just talking about the Stockholm Syndrome, you know, I actually experienced this recently with Justin Trudeau. I wasn't actually talking to him because, believe me, I would have made a video about that. But I just noticed that there's so many Canadian people who are all of a sudden, Trump's like, become the 51st state, and, you know, I'll do wonderful things for you. You'll be a cherished state. You know, you'll have protection. You'll have everything that you need. It'll be amazing. And now all of a sudden, all these Canadian people who are just liberals under Justin Trudeau are like, oh, they're all patriotic all of a sudden. And it's like, what are you fighting for? What are you actually trying to fight for now? You know, you're fighting for Justin Trudeau, for his policies, for what he's done to the country. You know, it's like you're having this argument. And again, I guess I got to take Joe's advice, but I can't. It's not that I read comments. I get into comment sections as well. I'm still a normal person. I don't care how many subscribers I have. I'm a normal guy still. So I get in there and I get into it. And you're having the conversation and it's like Trump versus Trudeau. And it's like, what are you defending that Trudeau has done? And how are you comparing him to Trump like as if he's better? It's mind-blowing to me. But that made me think of that whole Stockholm syndrome thing, sorry. And, you know, Obama, same thing. You know, people are... Joe himself was experiencing that with Bernie Sanders, and he woke up to that over what Bernie Sanders did to RFK. You know, the lies that he told in regards to RFK's confirmation hearing, voting against RFK. I believe he voted against Tulsi as well. So Joe woke up to that guy because he had this idea. It's like, you know, Bernie Sanders, great guy. I had him on the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And it's great to see him. It's so good to see him wake up to Obama, to Bernie Sanders, to Elizabeth Warren, to these people on the left, and to wake up to Trump. It's just so nice to see that happen all in like a 4-year span. It's just beautiful, you know? Pandemic did good things. That was one good thing it did, at least, you know? But yeah, that I saw people have that Stockholm syndrome. I don't think anybody, maybe you've met someone that has that with Hillary Clinton. I could not fathom why a person would have that. There's a little backstory on the counselor here. Worcestershire counselor. So it was a counselor, Thu Ingayun. I'm only giving it one try. First non-binary official is taking a month-long leave of absence, citing transphobia, and to prioritize their mental and emotional energy. Complaints came after they were called it and misgendered several times in council meetings. Yo, you know who did that? You know who definitely did that? The guy who you can hear, this guy here. Listen to this.
I need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
That guy right there. He's for sure the one that did it. He is just like, Lynn, I don't care what it has to say. I just need to wrap this up. We've been at this for too long. Did you just call me it, sir? Whatever you want to be called, I need to wrap this up, please. This guy's just fed up. He's like, Elon Musk is around. I don't get kickbacks anymore. I don't even know why I'm a council member anymore. This is ridiculous. What am I supposed to do? There's ladies standing in front of me, or guys. I don't even know now. They have clownitis. They got blue wigs on. Are they wigs? I don't even know. There's just bunches of them coming in. I'm so done with this. That guy's been a council member for 20 years. And he's like, I don't get kickbacks. And I have to deal with this. Are we sure? This guy's pissed for sure. Just wrap it up, please. If you can just wrap it up. Just everybody gets 2 minutes. If you could just go, please. Please. Thank you. The next person gets up. I'm under threat. And I felt like Trump doesn't like me. And this guy's just sitting there like, I didn't even vote for Trump. I don't understand why I got to do this all the time with these people. I can't call them they. I can't call them then. Whatever I call them. If I ask their gender, they're upset. If I don't ask, then I'm a bigot. I don't even know what to do here. For sure. For sure that's what went down. Somebody actually said, who's a part of this community, they said as a lifelong resident, they said this is an absolute clown show. This is not a representation of our city. This is theater. This is a theater act because a non-binary council member felt unsafe. Continue to cater to the 1%. This is what you get. 100%. I love that they said that. Your name is Through and Guyan. You're not making it easy for people. Just make it easy for everybody. Just put a pin on. Put a pin, just a name tag with the pronouns. Make it easy on everybody. Because you can't just show up to work with a bunch of dudes who have lived through the 80s and 90s as grown adults and expect them to just know what to do with all this. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You got to have a little bit of compassion here. This is ridiculous. This is coming from somebody who has a mushroom tattooed on his hand. 2 mushrooms, actually. And then the political beach balls, that's actually a tactic from Rules of Radicals as well. I don't know if you guys know that. Rules for Radicals, they have this, the political beach ball is to keep continuously making demands. The demands would be the beach ball. It's not just problems. It's always problems, but it's also demands. It's this constant demands, and you're always just pushing this beach ball around, trying to make more and more demands so you can acquire more and more power. You know, a classic example I always use is reparations. It's something that cannot happen. It's something that people do not deserve. And, you know, the politicians of the world, the Maxine Waterses and the Hakeem Jeffries and the Al Sharptons will always make you feel like it's just around the corner. Just please keep voting me in. Please keep me in power. I'm going to get them for you soon. You know, it's not my fault. It's all those white politicians. You know them, right? They're the bad guys. I know. I deal with it too. It's like, no, you don't. You're a millionaire. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You guys all go to an island and do slip and slides with Diddy. What? Huh? You do Epstein slip and slides with Diddy in them. What do you mean? You don't do what the rest of us do. You do them slip and slides with Diddy in them, and then you wake up and don't remember what you did. What? That's not what we do. That's not what us regular people do. It's much different, your life, actually. Even Jasmine Crockett, you know, they're starting to expose all these politicians. Even Jasmine Crockett's a millionaire. You believe that? Do you know who that is? She's like the real ghetto one in Congress. Even she's a millionaire. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? They're just all millionaires now. Guys, sorry to interrupt the video. You know I don't like to do that, but I just had to let you know that there is another channel that I have. Okay, we have 255 videos, and this is where we break away from the Joe Rogan content. We are covering breaking news. We are covering just things that are going on, culture war stuff, woke nonsense, all sorts of stuff like that. So for those of you who have been asking, hey, what's with the big focus on Joe Rogan? Here it is. This is where we break away from the Joe Rogan content. Coach Colin Media, link in the description. Let's get back to the video. Is that her? Whoa. Okay.
And I've got a really important message. Really important message. And it's not just that Election Day is going to be July 14th, where I'm going to be on your ballot and I should be your choice for State Rep and House District 100, but also that the last day to register, if you've not registered just yet, is going to be June 15th, and that is Monday. So please make sure you get your voter registration in. We want to make sure that your voice is heard. We absolutely want to make sure that you participate in this runoff election. If you live in House District 100, which is South Dallas, portions of West Dallas, East Dallas, a portion of Mesquite, then please call us and we'll make sure that you get registered. You can call us or you can DM us. Thank you so much. And don't forget, make sure you get registered.
Absolutely not. I mean, get registered, but don't vote for her. Are you crazy? Yeah, that's her doing that hand symbol. She's so ratchet.
Mr. Trump, you gonna learn a few lessons from us.
It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. People are saying now that she owns a $2 million townhouse. How do you have a townhouse that's $2 million in Dallas? Do you have any idea what $2 million buys you in Dallas? What? This must be an incredible neighborhood. 1.5 million loft in Austin, Texas. What? $1.5 million lake house cabin in what is this? Galveshurst, Texas. Look at her. Her net worth grew. Let's see here. Net worth grew to how much? It doesn't even say. Oh, it just says up there. So her salary is, under 200,000. She has a $9 million net worth. Huh. What's going on, man? What's going on? What's happening? It's just everybody. And I hope you guys heard that speech she was giving. You could do that, right? You could go on the internet and do that and run, right? I'm going to keep saying it until someone in the comment section is like, I'm a congressman now. I became a congressman because you said I could. I'm doing it until then. So I'm not going to stop. Okay? I get hot when I think about this. Somebody needs to run for Congress. Somebody needs to become a senator. A normal person. A normal guy that's just chills on the weekend, dresses like Fetterman, but does not think like him, and just do it, man. You guys can do it. But anyways, let's play a little bit more of this.
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Up, please?
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos. An easy thing to do, inbred.
I do not want to be here.
T people and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me!
What if the guy was just like, he just leaned in and he just went 24, and they just looked at him with that face, that blank face, that NPC face, and they said, what? And he just went, 24 of your friends. Because I think there's zero possibility that 24 people that you could call friends that you will know until the day that they pass away, sadly. Okay? Because we're never going to do anything. Do you understand? They took away USAID. I do not get kickbacks anymore. They've gone into the IRS. I'm likely going to jail, sir, ma'am, whatever. So please, can you all just leave this room? We are all experiencing so much anxiety. Elon Musk is going to send big balls in here to audit us, and we can't explain the spending of any of this. Okay, so we don't have time for this anymore. You're gonna start to see politicians break down like that. We're all just afraid of big balls coming. Okay, the kid's 19, and for some reason he gets to tell us how to spend money. I spend tax dollars every day. I don't have receipts. Oh man. Anyways, guys, this episode is just going off the rails. I just want to talk a little bit. I think this is a nonsensical thing going on in these council meetings, and I would be shocked if this person wasn't a comedian. If you tell me this person's just a legit person with those gloves on, what? And these eyebrows? That's just a real person just walking around? No, that has to be a comedian. Because why wouldn't you be a comedian if you were able to do that? If you had the ability, most of us don't have the ability to walk around looking like that. If you have the strength to walk around looking like that, why don't you have a Netflix special? What's going on? What are you doing? Anyways, guys. I'm going to be talking about this video more on my other channel for sure. I'm going to let the whole thing play, and listen. Your boy might be a news source to some, but I'm immature, and I'm going to be making fun of these people for at least 20 minutes. I know. It's immature, but that's what I'm going to do. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. It helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.